Hello everybody, I hope you're doing good today. This video will contain copyrighted material being used underneath the Fair Use Act for educational purposes. Let's get started. It's time for an update of FECORE and the buffoonery that's going on there. You guys won't believe what I found after I just did a little bit of research. Research that Bob, Jaron, Mike Kavanaugh, and the rest of the FECORE clowns should have done before pretending to be smart enough to do experiments, because I'll show you how dumb they actually are. Alright, let's get down, go down here. I come to FECORE site often to look for changes. You know, they used to have this sale going on in the membership with, you know, you hurry, you only got 42 days left before the prices go up. Well, the prices went up. The only one they raised up was this one. The other day when I was here, with Thursday or Friday, it said $250 for a year for the advance, but now you see it says $125 for 6 months. It's the same thing as $250 for a year. Look at this. You get live coverage of experiments. What are they going to do? Hire a camera crew to go along with them? Get freaking real. You're going to have an experiment on a lake that's 40-some miles. And you're going to have a camera crew filming this. That's going to be, well, at least 20 people just filming. And then you got 4 teams of 6 people out on the lake. I mean, do you guys have any concept of what's going on here? And the reason why if I ask you if you have any concept of going on here is because you've been either ignorant of the facts or you've been lying to people. Okay? So anyways, you can go back here and look. This is FECORE Strikes Back. This is the video I did that 5-part series on. And in that 5-part series, I said this laser experiment is going to be canceled and rescheduled. Canceled and rescheduled. Well, I'll go even further to say right now, it is either going to be canceled for good at this lake, or they're going to have to completely change it around and revamp the whole experiment. Because what they have planned was just absurd. And you will see that here in a minute. But first I want to show you something else here. You get a 15% discount on FECORE events. What's FECORE events? Oh, you get an Earth convention in UK. A Earth convention. Now remember, you can't use the word flat here on this website. And that just goes to my point. They're either deceiving the corporations and the government and pretending not to be about flat earth, or they're deceiving flat earthers. That's the only 2 choices here. Now, who are they going to get away with deceiving? A bunch of YouTube users or the government? They ain't going to get away with deceiving the government and their corporations. Because that's what they're going after, government and corporate donors. They said they got corporate donors that donated this Balaton laser experiment, for this Balaton laser experiment. And this is just a stupid name because they call this a Balaton laser. They should say the Balaton Lake laser experiment, because there is no such thing as a Balaton laser. But anyways, like I said, it was scheduled for January 25th. Like I predicted, canceled, rescheduled for January 14th. And you will find out why later on in this video, why it was canceled. But even then, they can't be honest. They're either not honest and knowingly lying to you, or like Bob, didn't do his research again on this lake. Because see, Flat Earth Research did the Flat Earth Reset did the research for them that they should have been doing when putting together this laser experiment. Alright, now let's move along to FECORE Strikes Back here. And let's listen to this, because this is back when they describe what's going to happen with this laser experiment, how they need a frozen lake. Remember that, a frozen lake. Okay, let's listen.
I'd like to show the animation which Steve made on that experiment, which is going to be based in Hungary at the Lake Balaton. In January, hopefully, we will have a nice weather and frozen lake. It's usually like that every year.
Now, that's a lie. He said the lake is usually frozen like that every year. That's a straight up lie, folks. Again, I did the research that these clowns should have done when choosing a lake. All right, let's keep going here.
So we are going to aim for a complete distance of 66 kilometers, which is 41.5 miles. If we have a good weather with not with no fog and not so big wind, then we might be able to reach this or even longer distance.
Let me fast forward it here to their little silly diagram here and explain to you. Okay. This silly ass layout here of it. Okay, they're going to have 4 teams of 6 guys every so far, you know, and they're going to be measuring the beam to make sure it's level. I don't know how they're going to measure the beam to make sure it's level. All right? But anyways, that's what they're going to do. Remember, they're going to have people out there filming this, so this is going to be an experiment involving at least 50 people, I would say, minimum. 4 teams of 6 people. Plus your camera crew, well, about 40 people, I would say then. Yeah, because you got to film this for your advanced members, you know. So anyways, they need the frozen lake to walk on, okay? So, remember, like I predicted, it was canceled. Now let's listen to Bob and Glowbusters explain to you. Wait, let me go back here. And let me go back here and pull up this one screen here. Work teams. Yeah, there you go. 4 groups of 6 persons. This is what I want right here. Let me go back. Experiment conditions. Lake Balaton is expected to freeze in January. Again, that's a lie. That's a silly ass prediction to make that the lake's going to freeze in January. We need a minimum of 8 centimeters of ice thickness to walk on the lake safely. Ideal conditions, clear days and nights. No wind, low humidity, moderate cold. Moderate cold, you need the lake to freeze, so it's got to be below freezing. Moderate cold. Temperatures critical. Critical conditions. Temperatures above 0. Temperatures below 15 C. Fog. Strong snowfall, rain, strong winds. Can't have any of that stuff. Okay? Now remember, they carefully chose this lake because they needed a frozen lake. Okay? So, let's listen to Bob here. This is on Glowbusters yesterday. And I knew this is why I didn't make the video earlier last week when I see they canceled the experiment, because I figured out why they canceled the experiment last week. But I first wanted to see what Bob was going to say on Glowbusters, and he was only half true. Now, the other part of it that he didn't tell you, he either didn't tell you out of ignorance because he ain't done no research, or he did his research and he can't tell you the truth because you're all going to find out how stupid these clowns are. But since Bob didn't want to disclose it, I'll disclose it for you. I did the research. Let's listen to Bob here.
Somebody had made a request that I give a few updates about what FECORE is doing. Now, normally the FECORE website, and it's still kind of under construction, but we are, of course, as you know, getting ready to do our 67-kilometer laser test over Lake Balaton in Hungary, and that is going very well. I can say that we have gotten a lot of the equipment. In fact, most of the equipment, almost all of it, has been supplied by our sponsors. And in fact, we got some beautiful, beautiful stepper motors, and I mean, Mike Cavanaugh's been busy building all this stuff up, but
They supposedly paid thousands of dollars for these lasers with low divergence, but yet they got to build them. Strange.
really been supplied with some first-class equipment, so the laser structure itself is going to be able to, we'll be able to manipulate that beam down to, you know, several thousandths of an inch. It's unbelievable what we're going to be able to do with it. So it's really exciting, and of course we'll make the formal announcements about, you know, who some of these corporate sponsors are when we do this, and I'll leave that up to Mike to do that. But everything is shaping up. Now I will say that we did have a little bit of a timeline dilemma. Now, one thing that's going on in Hungary is they are having, I believe, warmer than usual weather, so the lake...
You believe, Bob? When you say you believe, that tells me you didn't do your research. See, I did, like I said, I did the research last week and found out why you guys had to cancel this experiment. I think you guys having to build up the lasers and all this is all just a freaking lie. You canceled the experiment because the lake ain't frozen. You just said it. Warmer temperatures than expected. Well, that's a lie.
Has not frozen over yet. So at last I had heard from Mike, we were putting it off like 2, possibly 3 weeks, something like that, to see, well, not only to allow him to get the laser completely put together and tested, but also hopefully we can get a little bit more frozen ice on that lake. And what we're going to attempt to do, you know, in addition to the shot...
So hopefully they can get a little bit more frozen ice on that lake. There's no frozen ice on that lake. This guy, whoever he is, just happened to upload a video of Lake Balaton just 2 days ago. There's no ice. The weather conditions aren't even near cold enough to cause the lake to freeze over. And in fact, they're having normal weather temperatures. Not abnormally warm like Bob just tried to tell you. That's a lie. Bob didn't do his research. Remember, he says he believes it's warmer than usual. Okay? But I did the research, and here's what I found. Here's pictures of Lake Balaton. It's a major holiday destination. Do you think they're going to close down a lake for a laser experiment when there's a lot of commerce that takes place at this lake? A lot. Fishing, everything. Tourism, everything. But anyways, the Lake Balaton is a major holiday destination in Western Hungary, and the mass event on Saturday saw nearly 8,000 make the journey across the ice. They crossed the 4 miles across the ice. All right, but now let me show you the rest of this article. Let's scroll up here. These amazing pictures show nearly 8,000 people trekking over a solid lake which completely froze over for the first time in a decade. So here you go. You got these experienced clowns at FECORE planning an experiment that they need to do on a frozen lake, on a lake that rarely freezes. Do you see the buffoonery here, folks? And these people have placed themselves on the pedestal as scientists and engineers and so on and so forth. They're all a bunch of buffoons who plan to experiment at a lake that rarely freezes. Now let me show you these temperatures back in January 2017 when this lake froze for the first time in 10 years. They were having abnormally cold temperatures. Okay? -6 in the daytime, -15 in the evening, when the average is 1 degree Celsius and -4 in the evening. And that's what's going on right now, and the lake still ain't frozen. This is the temperatures they're having. They're having about average temperatures. Not hot temperatures like, abnormally hot temperatures like Bob claims. See, they just ain't telling you the whole truth here. I went out and I did the research. Why didn't you research this, Bob or Jaron? Huh? Why didn't you research the lake? You would have found out that it rarely freezes over. Look at this. This is the water temperatures. They call this a sea. It's a big lake, but they call it a sea. You know, so what? It's fresh water. It's big enough that I guess that it causes its own weather conditions, so that's why they call it a sea. But anyways, 2 degrees Celsius, that's 36 Fahrenheit. That's the water temperature right now. In February, it's predicted to be 1 degree Celsius and 34 degrees Fahrenheit. That's 2 degrees Fahrenheit above freezing. Okay, let's move on. In March, the temperature of the water increases even more. So this is just further proof. They planned this on a lake that rarely freezes. Ladies and gentlemen, this is like going to the desert to do a snowfall experiment. It's no different. How ignorant are these guys? Extremely. And you know what? Then Bob goes today and he makes a promo pumping the Lake Balaton laser experiment, trying to get you to join FECORE. That's right. They're trying to use this laser experiment that, like I said, mark my words, it's going to be canceled again, or they're going to have to replan the whole thing to do it on no ice. They're going to have to get down there and on freaking boats. But there you go, ladies and gentlemen. I did the research that Flat Earth or FECORE should be doing. Have a good day, everybody.